So speaking of new agents, we have one in the background there. Everybody raise your hand, say hi to Elisa. Hi. So she just joined the team. Give her a round of applause, everybody. Let's make it awkward. Come on. And we got Bogdan. Everybody, he's the shortest guy in the room. He's the shortest guy in the room. Bogdan, stand up, show everybody how short you are. Oh my God, it's a giant. So everybody welcome Bogdan too, please. Give him a round of applause. Welcome. All right, so people are moving, they're joining EXP because of the resources, and just the atmosphere. But as far as real estate goes, who has some wins in real estate? Some new escrows, some new offers written. Who has some stuff? I know. All right, Steve.
I just got one that's closing. So.
Boom, that's planned. That's a payday. And you got the second best looking shirt in the room. About that. And then Sugar. Can you speak up?
Adrian opened a new one.
Yes, he did.
Adrian opened a new escrow.
Yeah, he did.
So Adrian on the team opened a new one.
Yeah.
And then
We closed the longest deal ever. No, I mean, not ever, but
not ever.
it's just been dragging on and on for many months. Finally closed that one on Monday, so. Yeah.
So this is an exercise in persistence. So
Yes.
the appraisers, right? Is there any appraisers in the room? Okay. No offense. The only appraiser I really like is Ryan Lundquist, but all the others, not my friends.
Yeah.
They do not play well with realtors for whatever reason. This appraiser, there were 2 homes on one lot. They were zoned 2 homes on one lot, not a primary and an ADU. 2 homes on one lot. The appraiser said, I don't care how it's zoned. This is what I think it is. Jacked the whole process up for the next 60 days. Threw everybody's lives in turmoil. Had to get the county to change the wording on permit to appease this appraiser, and it ended up closing anyway. So screw you, appraiser, but congratulations to Valerie and her clients. So we have some, any sure? Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, no, please. So I'm just writing an offer, this morning, working with a young investor. The property, just a learning curve for both him and I.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah, but there was this bucket here. And so he looked up on the EXP website and it's probably a random thing that I want to make an offer.
Let's go. Let's get some more of those. Round of applause. Jacqueline.
I know someone in here who closed 2 this week, but doesn't want any type of credit.
Who? Was it Alex? Alex, you serious? Come on, applause from Alex. 2 week keeps bankruptcy away. And then Lindsay, what'd you have?
I was just gonna give a shout out to Haley. We had one that was, Valerie knows about this too. The zoning on this property was crazy. We tried a million different ways to try to find a loan for these people, and it was just zoned commercial. It just couldn't happen with mobile home on it, but Haley's back on the hunt, showing these people houses, getting their house sold, and hopefully writing another offer on a different house that is doesn't have nearly as much baggage.
Awesome. Yeah, Haley's a beast. She will not quit. Steve. Boom. Congratulations. You and Alex are taking them down. You can all retire. Just write some checks. Are you going to pay for us to go? Speaking of upcoming trips, Cabo. Well, we'll start with what we got. What do we got? Upcoming event. Park and Pumpkin Parade. This is happening at Bayside Adventure. We are the headline sponsor. So if you want to come, it's free. It's from about 5 to 8:30. There'll be costumes, there'll be candy, there'll be an event, there'll be a little parade with like floats and stuff. So it'll be a fun time just down the road at Bayside Adventure this Saturday. And then next week's meeting is gonna be talking about inspect, detect, and correct. I have a listing appointment later today. Quick story. Met this guy, man, it must have been over a year ago. And I was honest with him. I said, here, this is what the house is worth. This is what you could expect. He's like, yeah, you seem like you know what you're doing, but I don't like those numbers. So he went with another realtor. Realtor bought the listing, told him what he wanted to hear. Couldn't sell the house. So he went with another realtor who bought the listing, told him what he wanted to hear. Couldn't get the house sold. He won 900. Last I saw, I was in contract for 699 and fell out. Well, this individual reached out to us yesterday to say, I want you to come over and talk to me about what you think the home is worth. And by the way, here's a list of the inspection reports that came in. So remember, this guy wanted 900. He accepted 700. And because he didn't have the inspection reports ahead of time, he was totally blindsided by subterranean termites, dry rot, health and safety issues. There's probably a good $25,000 to $30,000 in like legitimate things that are need to be addressed or at least disclosed to the seller or the buyers moving forward. And he didn't know. So he probably took that 700 thinking that was what he was gonna officially sell for, and then got hit with an extra $30,000. If he had done this up front, and we're gonna learn more about this next Thursday, that first agent or that second agent would have been paid. He would have had his expectations set correctly out of the gate. And so don't let that happen to you. Don't have him call me or call Steve or call Alex or call somebody else and say, hey, first agent didn't do a good job, didn't disclose, I didn't know to expect this. So make sure you attend this next Thursday. Jen's phenomenal and so is Good Life. You guys excited about this one? Is this gonna be helpful? Okay. And then we have EXP Con, so this will be a good time in Miami, October 27th through the 30th, so coming up fast. So if you haven't bought your tickets, it's not too late, you can still go. And then Sean Kokoska is coming to PCAR this coming November 14th. It's free. Try to do one of these events every single month. He's going to talk about business planning. So in November, we're planning for 2025. So make sure you attend this. He used to be the #1 coach for, I think it was MAPS coaching with Keller Williams. So he's an absolute legend, and we're lucky to be able to squeeze him in or have him squeeze us into his calendar. You know what I'm saying? We're lucky to have him. Yeah, Sean Kokoska is coming, and then there's the slide I was looking for. So are we allowed to talk about this?
Yeah, so we just signed papers last night with Tom Ferry. So we've got Tom Ferry, if you're a Tom Ferry fan, and we're working on Gary Brecka. We're almost there. So we would have those 3 keynotes, one each day.
So just one of these guys is like worth attending. Okay.
He's 125,000.
Yeah, this dude, Ed Milet by himself, 125K, come and speak, right? You can hear him speak for, the ticket price is $597. So just for him alone, that would be great. Gary Brecka, phenomenal, world-class speaker, one of the favorites that we've had in the last number of years. His videos have like hundreds of thousands of views on Brent Gove's page, let alone his own page. People absolutely love him. He'll probably be there. And then Tom Ferry, I mean, his events are way more expensive than $597 to hear Tom Ferry speak at an event. And the best part is it's in Cabo. It's in Cabo. I bought tickets, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Round trip per person, Alaska Airlines, $400. Don't do Southwest, you'll get scared and you won't go.
Yeah.
Southwest is crazy right now. Don't do Southwest, but you can buy the tickets and then it's an all-inclusive thing. So actually what we're doing is we're making a little vacation out of it. Bringing the boys, I have 2 sons, Jack and Ben, Valerie and I bringing the boys. We're just gonna ride off our vacation. So if you wanna have a good time, come join us in Cabo. I think that might be it.
Yeah.
Is that it? Fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, you guys remember a couple of years ago when the winds were really bad and it seemed like all the fences were blowing down? We had a brand new fence and it was like leaning. So we had to come and get it fixed. But if you guys don't have a strong fence vendor, this is something that when I'm walking properties, I'm looking at the inside, I'm looking at the outside, and typically the fences, because what do people, they'll fix up their kitchens, they'll fix up their bathrooms before they'll fix up their fence. And anyways, I had one situation where I showed up to get a listing paper signed and this guy comes out holding his dog and his dog is bloody. And what had happened was the neighbor's fence, the German Shepherd busted through, attacked his little Chihuahua. So don't let that happen to your clients. And to speak more about it, we have Dominic with Fantastic Fence.
Yeah.
Everybody, welcome to the front.
So this is a great room. You guys should be super proud. I've walked into a lot of rooms like this, looks nothing like this. So like, really impressive right out of the gate. So we do, I own a company called Fantastic Fence.
All right.
So I own a company called Fantastic Fence. We do about 7,000 projects a year, mostly remove and replace homeowners like yourselves and homeowners like your customers. Sometimes they are buying the house, sometimes they're selling the house. Really what sets us apart is we're much larger and we're better. And we don't just say we're better, people say we're the best. We have over 1,000 reviews and we're at 4.9 rating. So when you're doing that kind of volume, and I think we actually started tracking that in the less than 1 year. So now that we're actively moving on that, that number's growing incredibly fast. So really the biggest thing about it is you guys are our customer. In the end, you have a customer as well, but it's our relationship just like we work with property management, pool companies, subcontract or general contractors. We really work for you guys, and then you point us in the right way with what you want to do with this house you're selling. Maybe you do just want to just repair it, just kind of bandage it, get it right, move on. Maybe you guys want to replace something. That's great, but also your feedback in that process, because you know what that owner has to do in the rest of the property, is important. You also might be representing the buyer. And in that case, where the buyer might need numbers to bargain with the owner, because the fence is failing and they just haven't addressed it, we can help you with that. I can pretty much get to any house in about a day. So if you needed me faster, I would do it, because once again, it all comes back to that relationship. We have 4 estimators that run all day long. They usually do between about 12 stops a day on average. And then we run 15 crews. So not only are we going to really represent you guys right, because that is the most important piece of this whole puzzle, is that in the end product will give you a fair number, and then the end product, you'll be impressed like all the other 1,000+ people. So if you guys want to reach out to us, our information is on here. Really, honestly, if it has to do with the fence, we do it. So we can really address any of your concerns at all.
Fantastic.
Yep. Yeah. Really appreciate it, folks.
All right, any questions for
Any
Dominic?
questions?
So do you just do the wood fence? Do you do metal
Yeah.
fencing?
Super great question. So that white leaflet that you have there, we do everything from wood. There's a ton of wood and it falls over the most. Iron, chain link, vinyl, actually super cool for your own personal houses or a modern house. If you flip it over on the back, the Durban fence, we actually bring it in from Australia. It is like dog ear fencing of Australia. It looks the same on both sides. It's super modern, super cool, and it doesn't wear out. So something
And it
people are.
doesn't burn on fire.
It doesn't burn on fire. All the plaster El Dorado. I live in Grass Valley. You live in Auburn, right? Everybody's getting notes that you need to have fire safe fences. There you go. So yeah.
Good question.
Where were you 2 months ago when I needed you?
I don't know. That's a darn good question. I need to figure that part out.
Do you guys give, you charge for a consultation?
Nope. Nope. Zero. Yeah, zero. We're just happy to be there. Yeah.
Contact you personally or?
If you just call that number, to be honest with you, we take quite a few phone calls, but everybody else is just as good as me. They just send me because I'm the pretty one.
You're Dominic?
Yeah, I'm Dominic. Yes.
So Dominic, can I see you this afternoon?
Yeah, you good? Yeah, if you got something, I'm there. Yeah, no problem. All right, folks, I really appreciate it. Thank you again, and we really appreciate having a partnership with you.
Yep, thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. And so next up, where is he? Or she? Oh, there he is. All right, everybody, welcome to the front of the room, our in-house lender, ATM, and JJ Mack.
All right. What's up, guys? Happy Thursday, right? Thursday, yeah. Hope you're all doing well. I know you don't like lenders right now because interest rates, and I've been telling you like the last several weeks that they were going down, and then what the heck happened? I'm gonna tell you what happened really quick, and then we'll move on because I don't want to talk about that much. But basically, right now, we've spent over $600 billion. The government spent $600 billion in the summer months of this year. And because of that reason, we've got a ton of debt, just like we always do. But now we have a lot more. And we have more debt now. The interest that we're paying on the debt, we're having to get more debt to pay the interest on the debt that we have. And so this is a big problem. And so because of that reason, for the first time ever, we've got more money that we're paying on interest than we're paying for our national defense. So it's unfortunate where we're at. We hope that hopefully this election thing gets over quick and fast and we can move on. Not to get political, but just so you guys know, if the right side gets elected and we have this big red wave, you're going to see interest rates potentially get a little bit worse maybe before they get better, because they're going to try and fight this problem. They're going to try and stop the spending. But on the other side, if we have the blue wave, they feel like, well, if we can just spend a little bit more and to get a little bit more done, then we can bring those interest rates down and get people back on track, making more money and making the economy better. So no matter which way you go, it's going to be probably not great, but either way, we've got the debt. We are where we are. Here's the good thing. well, I don't know if you think this is good, but here's one thing that I can share with you all. Housing is going to continue to be strong. No matter what happens on the interest rates or anything else, we've still got what, 1.5 months of inventory? That means there's low inventory and people still want to buy homes. And so because of that reason, no matter what happens with those interest rates, don't worry about it, because you can still see that there's less inventory than what we need. And I think what, for a buyer's market, you need like what, 5 or 6 months of inventory?
More.
Even more. So we're still way low. And so I would not worry about house values coming down when you have these buyers asking you, oh man, rates are going to keep going up. We've got this bubble, it's going to pop, and then we're all going to, be sorry that we bought today. I don't see that happening anytime soon. And I think we can see that through inventory and where things are and how things have continued to go up in the market and how they've continued to go up year after year after year historically. So keep that in mind. Don't worry about interest rates. Think about the house, think about the dream, think about what your client wants out of this. And speaking about that, one thing I was doing the other day, my wife, I don't know if you guys know, she likes to watch these, How It's Made. You guys ever watch those things? She does that for like 2 hours in bed at night. She just sits there and watches these things. And so I was watching one with her the other day, and it was talking about diamonds and how diamonds are produced. And do you know how much pressure it takes to make a diamond? It's insane.
7% interest rates?
That's it. That's a lot of pressure. But with that being said, it made me think, like right now in our industry, we have so much pressure on us as just real estate agents, as loan officers, and what we're doing out there in the field every single day. So when this all gets over and interest rates do go back down, the strong will survive. I think there's what, 8,000 real estate agents in the Placer County area. But I think just a couple of years ago, there was like triple that. So as we continue to move down and how many people are here, the strong will survive. So you guys are the strong ones. You guys are going through this. You guys are making it. And when you get to the end of it, you're going to be a diamond. You're going to shine bright because you all stuck with it. So I'm proud of you all that you're all here. Okay, so a couple quick stories. We all learn from stories. We don't learn from, if I just give you a bunch of guidelines on mortgages, you're not going to learn anything. I want to share with you 2 quick stories, and then I'll move on. So I had a client, and this particular client came to us from a real estate agent. This realtor said, I can't get him qualified. He's already been turned down from Wells Fargo, and he went to a broker and he got turned down there too. I said, all right, well, I don't know if I can do anything, but send him over, I'll chat with him. So we get him on the phone. Lindsay takes the application. We start working through things, and we don't see any issues. We're thinking, are we doing something wrong here? Why are we getting this pre-approved and these other lenders couldn't? So we talked to the guy and we said, hey, you're pre-approved. I don't understand why these other lenders weren't able to get you pre-approved. And he said, well, because I have my student loans. I said, yeah, I know you got a lot of student debt. I get that. But why can't they qualify you? I said, well, because they're using the 1% of the student loan payment. I said, well, you don't have to use 1%. You only have to use 0.5%. So these other 2 lenders were just not calculating the debt correctly. It just goes to show that it's always good to make sure that your lender knows what they're doing, first of all, but then getting a second opinion. If you're getting somebody that's telling you they can't qualify for a loan, make sure you're getting a second opinion. That guy went on to go get an escrow on a home, and now he's buying. Only because of the fact that that realtor did reach out and find that second opinion. One more. Do you guys know a realtor? I asked her before, so she said it was cool if I use her name. You guys know a realtor by the name of Katie Allison? You know her? Yeah. So she's with Keller. I wanted her to come here, but we were talking the other day. We got this client together, and man, oh man, I haven't had any appraisal values recently, but this appraisal came in $45,000 low, $45,000 short. Here's a cool thing about American Pacific Mortgage and what we can do. We were able to take this appraisal and call our appraisal management company. I talked to our contact there. I let her know what happened. I said, I don't know why. Both the listing agent and the buyer's agent both feel this home should be worth more than what they're buying it for. And it came in less. What can we do? She said, well, let me look at some comps for you. So she gets a couple comps and she sends them over to me. She says, I think we've got a case here. So we send these 2 comparables back into our appraisal management company. We send it to the appraiser with some really good data, and they change the value. Wow. Up $45,000. Wow. I just wanted to share that with you all because it's important to work with a lender that knows the appraisers that they work with. We have a panel, and on that panel is hand-picked appraisers that we go to, and we make sure that they're appraisers that we want to work with. We don't want to just go with Joe Blow that's going to come from Sonoma and come appraise a property here in Placer County. We want to make sure that they are the appraisals that we know and love. And they were able, and this appraisal management company was able to talk to the appraiser and get him to understand that he was not using the value from the upgrades that were into this house, as well as the other comparables that were more like it. So just wanted to share those two success stories with you this last week. I'm going to try and bring more stories to you because I think that they are important. And if there's anything that you guys can think of, you look back in your, vast array of real estate deals over the past few weeks, if there's any questions that you guys have, it was like, oh man, I wish I could have done this, or this client didn't get qualified, please bring it to us. Or if you have a question today, raise your hand, let us know, because we'd love to help you get those deals done and get your clients into homes. That's what we do. That's all I have for you guys. Any questions, anything I can do help with?
How did that happen? He pulled out of bed with his eyes closed?
The appraiser?
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah. No, I think he, when I didn't talk to the appraiser myself, but with the AMC that did speak with him said that these two other comparables, he just didn't notice them. And so sometimes appraisers make mistakes too, right? And that's why yeah. That's why Ryan Lundquist is the only good appraiser, right? But yeah, so it's
Do you want to show the pumpkin thing for the pie thing?
oh, sure. What are we doing? We have a pie day.
Pie giveaway, right?
Yeah. Lindsay, do you know about it? I know somebody else knows more than me. Okay. Giving away pumpkin pies to your clients. So if you guys like Apple Hill, yeah, everybody likes Apple Hill, and everybody likes to make sure their clients are happy with them. So we're going to Apple Hill for you, and we're gonna go pick up a bunch of pies. Oh, there we go. So on November 14th, from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Thank you, Johnny, for getting this to me. All you got to do, let me just tell you a phone number, and you can text it, okay? If you want some pumpkin pies, or what is the other ones? Pumpkin, apple. Man, I can't see it anymore. Apple, cherry, or pumpkin.
Playing trombone, huh?
If you guys like those, and you guys want your clients to have some of those, I'm going to split the cost with you. I'll go pick them up for you. I'm going to put a label on the front of it. It's going to have your information on it, as well as the JJ Mac team. And then all you got to do is just come pick them up on November 14th. We're going to have a big party out in our parking lot with cider and fun times and music. Come pick them up. I'll give them to you. You can go hand them out to your clients. Number 916-517-1800. Text that number 4 to 6:30 p.m. on the 14th. Let me know how much you want and what kind.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, round of applause and for JJ.
Thanks, guys.
So what's really great too is you can reach out to Jake. Jake's here in the office, and they have little flyers that they've made. And they'll put your face on it, and they will put your information on it, and you can have these at open houses. You can have these. You can email these out to your clients, and just use it as a value add for people you're looking to work with or who you've worked with in the past. And like JJ said, he split the cost with you, so you get 2 pies for the price of 1. So with that, we have our next speaker. So this is somebody I've been trying to get on the books for a while, but she's busy, we're busy, and we were finally able to make it work for today. Well, what I'm experiencing, and raise your hand if you're experiencing the same thing, at least sellers are typically falling into 2 major buckets. One, they're leaving the state. Has anyone experienced their sellers leaving the state? Raise your hand. Nobody? I'm the only one? Just a couple, right? Sellers are leaving the state, and many of those sellers are either leaving the state, or they're moving into retirement homes. Christine will go over it in a little bit, but there are hundreds of retirement homes. I think it's probably a couple thousand.
In our area, 550 in Sac County, over 300 in Placer County.
So between the 2 counties, nearly 1,000 retirement homes. And why these retirement homes exist? Because people are moving out of their primary residences into these care facilities, but they need to. Oftentimes, when they're doing this, in order to afford these care facilities, they need to sell property. So if you don't have experience with these care facilities, if you don't know how to help them, if you don't know how to guide them, that's what Christine's here for. So Christine, everybody please welcome to the front of the room, Christine.
Thank you. Thank you, Johnny, and thanks for having me this morning. So, as Johnny said, my name's Christine. I'm with Senior Care Solutions. I'm what they call a geriatric care manager. I've been in the business for 25 plus years. Our company is one of the oldest companies doing what we do in the area. We will be celebrating 28 years in January. So I've been with the company 18 years. So I'm the director of what we call referral services. So a couple things, I'm going to just give you a general overview of what we do and then answer any questions you have. But as Johnny was saying, a lot of our clients come to us because they are currently in their home and either looking to downsize and move to just an independent retirement community, or they need to move into assisted living or a residential board and care home. And because of the numbers I gave are more for licensed facilities, so assisted living and residential board and care homes. Oftentimes families don't know where to go. And many times we find they end up on the internet. And that is not the best place to go for senior living options, because first off, there's a lot of online companies that will capture your information and blast fax it throughout the whole area. And you start getting 25, 30 phone calls from facilities that may or may not be even appropriate for your loved ones. So we pride ourselves on being a team in our office, not as big as your team, but with very experienced folks who are helping families navigate this. So as I mentioned, I'm a geriatric care manager. Not only do I have my degree, but I also have a master's level certificate in geriatric care management, and have been in the senior care field. Many of our folks are social workers in our office and a variety of different levels of experience. So, and many of our team members have been with us for well over 10 years. So, so what we do, as I mentioned, is we help families just like, you know, in some sense, we're very similar to real estate in that we identify what the needs are of our client and then try to find the right appropriate matches for those folks. So a lot of what we're doing is assessing them, especially if they have a lot of medical needs. So we'll come out to their home, we'll go out to a nursing home, we'll go to a hospital, and we will assess what their needs are, and then take those hundreds of options down to maybe 2 or 3 that we feel are going to be the most appropriate for their level of care, their financial situation, and their geographic desires. So we look at a lot of different aspects of what they're looking for and help narrow the options down and have them tour those options and make some decisions. So we work with a lot of clients who are still in their home and trying to make that decision. Do they move out and then sell their home? Or frequently they've already enlisted a real estate agent and they can't move until the home is sold. So, but besides helping find senior housing, we do a lot with our clients in all levels. So I always like to tell a story. I had a gentleman contact me. He was a practicing attorney in Sacramento. His wife was diagnosed with early onset dementia at age 59. And so he came and met with me in my office and said, I don't know anything about what this journey is going to look like. So we walked that journey together. I connected him with resources with the Alzheimer's Association. We, at some point, had to bring in-home care to make her safe when he was at work. We tried adult daycare. We went back to in-home care. And through this journey, he was touring facilities because he knew inevitably she would need 24-hour care and not be safe in the home. So I got a call 6 years later. She didn't recognize who he was and thought he was an intruder and attacked him. But he knew at that point already where he was going to place her. He had made that decision. We just needed to get all the pieces in play. So what was a very stressful situation could have been so much more stressful if he didn't have a plan or somebody guiding him through that journey. So that's one example, walking the journey with somebody for 6 years. The other examples, very common as well. We get a call, somebody's at the hospital, they had a fall, they can't go home alone anymore, but the hospital's not going to admit them and they want them out within hours. And we can help those folks too. It's not our ideal situation because it's not ideal for the families. And unfortunately, many of our hospitals will bring in an agency they work with, which Their only goal is to get them out of the hospital. Ours is to help the family know the verbiage to advocate to buy a little more time so they can look at and make proper choices, because we don't think somebody coming in and saying, this is where your dad's going today is the right option. We think you should have choices. So we're real big advocates for our clients in many, many different ways. I have a client right now that's in skilled nursing and her home is an escrow. And all of a sudden, there's a big glitch with the escrow because they came out to do the documents with the client. And whoever came out, I think the escrow officer or the notary, determined she physically didn't have the strength to sign her documents. And so the family's calling me going, what do we do? So it's been a scramble because they need the home closed by the end of this week. And there's a big issue of, does she have physical capacity? Does she have cognitive capacity? We're bringing in concierge doctors to help do evaluations for the family to try to get the proper documents in place so the brother can act on her behalf. So we really do a little bit of everything for our clients depending on what their needs are. So again, working with a lot of real estate agencies and just helping folks kind of navigate when they have a client who does need to get out of their home and find another resource. So good news about our company too is we have kind of two divisions to what we do. One, what we refer to internally as our private pay division for folks who are who have private pay funds to pay for their care. But we also are a care coordinating agency through the state of California for those with Medi-Cal. And unfortunately or fortunately, the state of California in their infinite wisdom at the beginning of this year eliminated any asset restrictions to apply for Medi-Cal. So everybody who may have $5 million in the bank now wants to apply for Medi-Cal. It has unfortunately inundated our what we call the assisted living waiver program, which is the Medi-Cal program for people to not have to go to a nursing home, but to go to assisted living. And the program is now frozen because the capacity has been exceeded. So a lot of, I won't get on my high horse about some of my thoughts on all that. But we do a lot of education with families. Just because you can get on Medi-Cal doesn't mean you should get on Medi-Cal. If you have financial resources, the options that are available for you are far exceeding the options that will be available through the Medi-Cal system. So, but the bottom line is we take calls from folks at every income level. So that's kind of us in a quick nutshell, but questions, thoughts? Yeah.
You assist in setting up conservatorships at all?
We help refer to attorneys that do. So yeah. And sometimes we'll talk with family to determine if a conservatorship is really necessary. Some people think they have to get a conservatorship, but if there is powers of attorney in place, typically it's not necessary. So
I have a question.
My mother-in-law has been in, she's in a care facility in Fair Oaks, and she is, my wife has been tracking the waiver for a long time.
Sure.
So I mean, like for months. Would that be frozen too?
So the people on the, okay, if she's already on the wait list, so like our wait list has been 12 to 14 months. On average, that wait list was frozen. So the only exceptions to that, and we're not even able to put additional people on the wait list at this point in time, there's two exceptions to that. If the person is in a nursing home and has been there for 60 days, they bypass that wait list. So they're supposed to still continue to release a small number of folks who are in a nursing home because the program originally was designed to keep people out of nursing homes. The other caveat to that is if the person has an adult protective services case, so they're at risk. The problem is if they're in a facility already, then they can't have an adult protective services case because they're safe. There was a third caveat when the freeze happened about a month and a half ago, And that was a new thing that they were allowing, which was if the ombudsman came into the facility where somebody is and stated she was at risk of eviction due to lack of funds in the near future. They didn't ask one question about how much funds they still had in the bank. But those were getting released still after the freeze until this week. And I think part of that, we don't know for sure. We're waiting to talk to the head of the ombudsman department. Is that people were taking advantage of that because it was pretty easy to say, mom's at risk of running out of money and nobody asking a second question. And you could have $2 million in the bank. Yeah, she's at risk of running out of money, but when? So I think there became a lot of those referrals and then, so here we are. So yeah, it's great that there is a program. It's sad that there's just not a lot of options at this point in time. There is one other Medi-Cal program for assisted living called the Cal-AIM program. We're not coordinators for that, but we refer to that when it's appropriate. So you could always call our office and we could evaluate. It's called the Cal-AIM program. So it's only certain Medi-Cal HMO providers that are offering this. So, but we can answer questions related to that. So other questions? I thought I heard somebody online maybe.
Yeah, I had one. I just didn't want to interrupt. My name is Molly, and I am curious, would you be able to coordinate someone who's in San Francisco but relocating to Placer County?
We do it all the time. Yeah.
Could I get a phone number? Because it's a one-off situation that I don't really want to burden the call with, but I would love to go into detail with you if you had time or could share your number.
Yeah, I'll give you my cell. It's 916-769-0449. I do have brochures and some other literature here, but I will email Jose some digital information that can be sent out as well. So.
How much does it cost people?
Good question. So our services are free to the consumer. So the way we keep our doors open, somewhat similar to real estate, is if they do place in a facility we refer them to, they pay us a referral fee. That being said, we contract with probably 99% of the facilities in Sacramento, Placer. We go up to Nevada, Yolo County, and as far as Lodi and Woodland. So we cover a pretty broad area, El Dorado County as well. But even the 1% we don't contract with because it might be a nonprofit that has certain policies, we still refer to if it's appropriate. So there's oftentimes we're not getting anything for the services we do, but we know it's the right thing and it comes back because we build partnerships. So yeah.
No, I was gonna ask you about that too.
Oh yeah, there's some cards up here and then some brochures were sent around. Yeah.
Stan, you mentioned Medicare and Medicaid. Do either of those help to participate with a senior needing to be placed at all?
Right. So Medicare pays for no long-term care. It's kind of a myth that people don't understand. Medicare will pay for a short-term stay in a nursing home for rehab. And the other part of that, a lot of people hear is that Medicare will pay 100 days when you go into a rehab. The key word under Medicare guidelines is up to 100 days. You have to qualify every week to continue to stay. So the average nursing home stay for rehab is about 20 days. If you're Kaiser, it's about 14. It really varies, but Medicare is not a long-term solution. Medi-Cal, our form of Medicaid, is the program I've been talking about that's pretty impacted right now.
That's the one that's frozen.
The other option is a nursing home, but finding a Medi-Cal bed in a nursing home, number one, it's probably not where you want your loved one. But secondly, it's very hard to find a Medi-Cal bed in a nursing home. So, there's, again, not to get political, but there is talk if the left does come into office about changing some of the Medicare guidelines to at least help cover in-home care, which we're in favor of. I mean, it would be wonderful how that would happen. We're very cautious about because the cost of in-home care would bankrupt our system. And that's why most people can't remain at home. But So what a lot of people don't understand is the cost of 24-hour in-home care is now exceeding $30,000 a month. So that's why once people hit the around 6 to 8 hours a day of needing care in the home, a facility becomes much more cost effective. Because most in-home care is about $40 an hour now. So, yeah.
You said you gave out your cell.
Uh-huh.
Can I have that again?
Sure, 916-769-0
769.
0449. Christine. And then our main office number is on the brochures and again on my cards here. If it is specific to a Medi-Cal issue, I would call the office and ask for the Medi-Cal department. They're the ones who are up on every changing, like we're having a conference call today. So that literally changes on a day-to-day basis. I know enough, but there's really that team who's really in line with the constant changes, so. Other questions? Love to continue to work with you. Johnny sent me a client that had already done some looking, but really wanted to make sure they had done their due diligence and was happy to help with that. Ultimately, they're going with someplace they had already looked at, but have called for additional resources. And that's our pleasure to be able to kind of guide and support people through that process. So a couple things I can leave. This is an in-home care versus facility cost comparison sheet. So it shows you kind of the difference in cost. This is just levels of care, the different types of care. And then, okay. And this is what makes us different. You'll find that especially in the last 5 years, a lot of people have come into doing what we do because they think it's easy. It's not easy if you do it right. A lot of them are one person working out of their car, driving around doing this. We know to know the resources, it takes a team, right? And so that's why we've been doing it as long as we do. We know some of the online companies only hire salespeople. I met, a social worker I work with quite frequently called me one day and said, I have a mortgage broker. This was quite a while ago. And when the market had turned, who wants to get into doing what you do? And will you sit down with them and talk to them and see if they can start doing what you do? And so she was a lovely lady with really great intention. But when I laid out what a typical client was like, she looked at me like, so it's not that what you do isn't difficult, it's different, right? It wasn't just, oh, well, I find 3 homes that fit the parameters. I mean, when I started talking about, this person's diabetic, they need a Hoyer lift transfer, all these things, although there's 250 homes in Placer County, there's probably only 4 or 5 that will meet the needs of that individual who needs an injection. So what we do, if you do it right, takes experience. And so we just say, if you're working with another agency, make sure that they have experience and have been around for a while. So other questions? Thank you so much for having me today.
Round of applause for everybody. All right, so this is the real estate meeting. The whole purpose behind Christine being here, you guys, like, hey, how's this gonna help me sell houses? How's it gonna help me buy more houses? You're meeting with families, like, the boomers are aging out. A lot of my parents, a lot of the parents, a lot of your aunts and uncles, right? We're laughing about it, but I'm talking with people who, on the regular, who are buying a house is scary. Moving it, selling that house that you've lived in for 30, 40 years, then moving into a care facility, maybe by yourself, maybe your spouse has passed, whole nother experience. You do not want to give that person an experience that is less than stellar, and that's why we recommend Christine. And by the way, it's not me that recommends Christine. I mean, I obviously do, that's why she's here. But she came to me through a referral named Jenny Stroop. Jenny Stroop is the wife of James Stroop, who is Brent's business partner. What makes Jenny uniquely qualified to give referrals is Jenny owned a number of care facilities. And so if anybody knows a good person in this industry, it's Jenny, and Jenny endorses Christine. So when you're having those conversations, when you're at open houses, when you're at family dinners, you hear this conversation come up and people are stressed, they don't know what to do, you have a solution. Commercial, we tend to refer to Paul Frank. Lenders, we tend to refer to JJ Mack and the American Pacific team. Now you have somebody who can help you with care home facilities and aging well. So with that, have a fantastic day. See you all next week.